Robert Griffin III was fired from Monday Night Football cast, and I'm conflicted on it because he was fired for my boy Jason Kelce. But I don't.
Jason's gonna be that fun on there. I think Robert Griffin was gonna be bring more fun, but that's what they do.
How do I?
You want to see RG3, but you also want to see.
I loved RG3 on it. I thought he brought a lot more life to the show. Actually, the Monday Night Football cast, especially like when he would do the different things where he would run the routes and stuff. Like I thought that was fun. I remember when he raced the Hawk from Seattle.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You guys remember that when he raced the Hawk? Yeah. Raced it through the 40, he beat the Hawk. That's the stuff that you're not gonna see like Jason Kelce do. Buddy, welcome to episode 111 of Cinco Squad. My name is Jonathan Sora. We met my brothers every single week. Grandpa J, Mike A, and Trey Day. Fellas, happy 111th show. Trey Day, you got a shout out for us?
Yeah, lock of the week. Lock those three numbers in. Pick three, whatever state you're in. Play those three numbers in the lottery. Call it in now.
111 and 111. Go do it.
Yeah. I get lost sometimes on our shows. I'm just like, when we got to 100, I'm just like, what is 1 plus 1? Is it? I get always so confused. So, welcome to our episode. It's going to be a great episode. Make sure you go follow us at Cinco Squad Pod 05 on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Anywhere you watch your socials, we're there. Make sure you guys tuning in. It's been an interesting week in the NHL and NBA playoffs. Teams are blowing leads. Teams are gaining control right now of the playoffs, and it's going nuts right now, fellas.
It really is.
Yep. It's great. It's fantastic. It's awesome. It's great. It's going so well. It's going so well right now. It's going splendid. So fucking well.
Splendidly, Mikey.
Mike,
yeah, it's great.
Mike, what the fuck?
I don't know.
It could be worse.
Don't know what's happening.
It could be worse. It could be like
we cannot. Okay, first of all, as a Yankees fan, another New York team cannot blow a 3-0 lead.
Nope.
So
not happening.
You need to get your ass to Carolina. You need to talk to your boys and tell them, look, I can't relive this 20 years from now.
If it was against the
20
Bruins,
years ago, this happened.
Scared. If it was the Bruins, I'd be like, all right, history's definitely repeating itself.
This happened 20 years ago, Mike.
I know it did.
Yep. I watched every single game. I watched Johnny Damon's Grand Slam.
Me too.
Yep.
I'm getting flashbacks watching the damn Rangers right now.
Me too.
Need I bring up Trot Nixon? Yeah, it's not as I've said out loud to you guys. It's not the good. Oh boy.
Nothing nice.
It's not the very nice. Yeah, like I've said to you guys, I said it on Twitter. I've said it out loud to my father. Guys, this isn't funny anymore. All right, cool. Like you gave him a game. It's not funny anymore. Just end it. Like, just please.
That's what I feel about the Panthers. Like, stop letting this Boston team continue to wreak havoc. Now they're going back to Boston, playing, and that environment is insane. Marchand's supposed to play. Stop it! And I'm wearing Boston colors. What the fuck?
They're sticking their ass on a plane and headed back to Boston.
Why are we Boston colors? Like, why are we? We gotta have.
Listen, I have said this several times.
We're Steelers colors.
You know what's funny about that? Is like when we were deciding the colors for the show, we sent Trey Day, and he's like, black and gold, and he never said a peep. He was like, yeah, that sounds good.
He just let it happen. No, he just let it happen.
We somehow became the Steelers farm podcast. So,
well, that was the funny thing on our spring training tour. How many different people came up to us at various ballparks and were like, "Oh, those are some. Are those like Pirates?
Steelers.
Pirates. Yeah.
Are those like
at
Pirates
one point or another?
jerseys?
I just was like, yeah. I mean, yeah, they're
Sure.
the negative A team, the negative A of the Pirates. Oh, really? Yeah. They're Cinco Squads. The Cinco Squad,
Yep.
the Pittsburgh Cinco Squad.
They only have 5 players on the team, and
Yep.
Well, fellas, your NBA predictions could be coming true here soon, and your starting 5. Let's see. I mean, we have it Boston in the conference finals. Can the Knicks close it out? And can the the Dallas Mavericks. Those are where you guys differ right there. So, what are you guys'
Yeah,
thoughts? I mean, the NBA playoffs are heating up right now. But what is always heating up for us, as always, is what's on Mike's mind. So, Mike, what do you have on your mind today?
All right, guys. I took you back to 1982 in the MLB last week for the story of Joel Youngblood. But now we're going way back. Yes, Youngblood. But now we're going way back. Like way, way back. So, on June 7th, 1884, ace pitcher Charlie Sweeney. Yes. Jamie, you may remember this. On June 7th, 1884, ace pitcher Charlie Sweeney set a major league record that would stand for 102 years when he struck out 19 batters in a single game. After this game, however, arm trouble put him on the bench, putting the bulk of the Providence Grays innings on the back of old Hoss Radbourn, who was the Grays' only pitcher. No. Radbourn complained, and eventually Sweeney was forced to take the mound again. What followed is possibly the most old-timey baseball story in existence. After a game in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, Sweeney got drunk and elected to stay in Woonsocket with a lady friend. Waking the next morning, still drunk, and realizing that he had to start in Providence, he rushed out the door. With an already tight pitching staff, the Grays had no choice but to put the visibly hammered Sweeney on the mound. They tried to pull him after 5 effective innings, but Sweeney was having none of it. He pitched another 2 against the wishes of his manager. When again they tried to pull him before the 8th, with a threat of a $50 fine, which was a lot of money then, Sweeney told them to stuff their $50 fine and his whole contract. He walked off the field and watched the rest of the game with a woman in each arm, presumed to be prostitutes. This not only got him kicked off the team, but thrown out of the entire National League. With the Grays being extremely understaffed, old Hoss Radbourn offered to pitch the remaining games of the season for a small pay bump and an exemption from the reserve clause. He started 40 of the remaining 43 games in the season and won 36 of them. His arm became sore enough that he couldn't raise it over his shoulders and had to warm up for hours before game time just to get the ball over the plate. Just to add to his spectacular feat, Radbourn started and won every single game of the 1884 World Series. After an incredible 678.2 innings pitched, Radbourn amassed an official 59 wins for the season, sometimes reported as 60, an impossible record that will never be touched. And it's all because a man named Charlie Sweeney got laid.
That's what's up. Shout out to Charlie.
Shout out
Attaboy, Charlie! Yeah!
Shout out to Charlie Sweeney, and shout out to old Hoss Radbourn for throwing that many innings. My God.
First of all, you are on point with the names that you're coming up with these. Like, old Hoss Radbourn. That's a name right there.
I wish I was making that up. That's was an actual
name,
man.
That sounds, if you would have told me that name and, like, what he would do, I'd be like, yeah, he's a pitcher.
Bro, how do they pitch more? How did they, unless their velocity was like 71, how do they pitch more than 2 years with that much freaking body of work on their arm?
I don't know. I mean, look at Cy Young's numbers. He literally holds the MLB record for wins and losses in his career. He has over 500 wins and over 300 losses because he started like every other day.
Right.
I mean, and people will look at that and say, "Oh, well, if they could do it back then, why can't they do it today?" Well, it's a lot different today. They're throwing with a lot more torque on their arm.
They're 92 mile per hour freaking sinkers.
Yeah, and that's a sinker that's normally in that day probably is a 65 mile an hour. So
yeah,
30 mile an hour difference. They're throwing a lot more torque. They're stronger. They're faster. So yeah, they're gonna get hurt a lot more. So that's a damn 59.
Right?
Yeah, 60 wins or 59.
So the official record is 59 for him. Some people say he won a 60th, but that's not proven, so they go with 59. They know he won 59. He may have won a 60th.
Damn. Well.
Yeah.
Old Hoss.
Old Hoss.
All right, Grandpa Jay. Let's start over to Grandpa Jay's locks of the week. What are you winning this week? Are you having a streak like Old Hoss? Are you going to be Old Hoss this week?
We ain't betting watches. We're not betting gold. We're betting straight cash money. So, if you took our advice last week, if you took our advice the week before, we're going for the quadrangular, ladies and gentlemen. Will it be 4 weeks in a row of straight winners? So we don't have that much left in the playoffs right now. But what we do have is a game 6 in Indiana on Friday night. Now, here's what I know. Last 2 games have been pretty evident in that series. The team with the most energy came out and just completely blew the other team out of the water from the get-go. So I expect both teams with a couple days rest to come out playing really hard on Friday night. And of course, Indiana is playing for their lives. However, I love what Jalen Brunson has been doing in these playoffs. The guy is about to match Bernard King next time he has a 40-point game for most 40 points games in a single playoff run in a single year. He's going to match that record, and Bernard King has had that forever. So you guys see where I'm going with this. Give me the Knicks at 5.5. While I think the Pacers do have it in them to force a game 7, we have to remember the Knicks were up by double digits with 9 minutes to go, and it took a miracle shot for Indiana to pull out the win in game 3. I think that's the Knicks team that's going to show up on Friday night, and I don't see them losing that game. Indiana looks deflated, and Indiana looks like they're searching for answers. The Knicks look like give the ball to Jalen Brunson and great things would happen, and these role players are starting to play out of their mind. Alex Burke represent. So give me the Knicks at plus 5.5. And we mentioned it earlier in the show. Oh, Florida. Oh, Florida. Oh, Florida. They are starting to look tight. They're not skating loose anymore. The pressure of having to close out that series really got to them in game 5. I see Boston, and like John mentioned earlier, the crowd is going to be nuts. So I see the Bruins winning game 6 and forcing a game 7 down in SoFlo, right around John's neck of the woods. See if he can find a way to steal someone's ticket and be at game 7, because that's where the series is heading, right back to South Florida. So I got the Knicks at plus 5.5. I got the Bruins straight up to win and force a game 7 in South Florida. And if you get a little bonus action, because I might not get this, you might not get this on every site. Indiana Fever have a home and away with the New York Liberty. I think they lose the home game. But Caitlin Clark under the bright lights on Saturday night. I'm notching that as her first win in the WNBA against the Liberty. So if you can get it, take the Indiana Fever to win against the New York Liberty on Saturday night under the bright lights. Caitlin Clark is officially a professional basketball player. And by the way, if you missed her debut, 20 points, 10 turnovers. Everybody's talking about the turnovers. Everybody's talking about, oh, she had a woeful second half. She still made 4 threes, which is a record for a rookie debut. She still had the ball in her hands for the majority of the game. But those girls weren't having it. They were fouling the hell out of her. So I think she'll adjust a bit after 2 games. Let's see if the Fever can pull out that win. Knicks, Bruins, win yourself some money this weekend. Lock it up.
RIP inside the NBA. The writing seems to be on the wall. The TNT is going to lose the rights to the NBA, which means we're going to lose inside the NBA. For many of us, that was our favorite show. They had the best pregame and the best postgame. Now, I know that some people say, well, why don't they just move to another network? But Ernie's not going to do that. He's loyal to Turner, and I perfectly understand that. It's in the family line. And I got to respect the loyalty. They've already asked Chuck, and Chuck said the same, that he's not doing it without Ernie. So I'm going to respect those guys' loyalty and say, hey, great. They had a great run. It was over 20 years. This is the sad part of TV, though. As we start to watch NFL add on Netflix games, we watch the NFL add on Peacock games, and baseball goes to Amazon, and we start to get all these conglomerates go out. We start to move out some of our staples like inside the NBA. It was easily our favorite pregame show for me. There were many nights being a kid and even growing up to be an adult where I would just stay up and just watch those guys. It would be a blowout, and I'm like, I got to wait because I got to see what Shaq's going to say. I got to see what Kenny's going to say. I got to see what Ernie and Chuck are going to say. So I'm going to definitely miss those guys. I mean, maybe they'll get a Hail Mary and Turner be able to hold on to the rights, but we'll never see nothing again like this. With the chemistry they had, the jokes they always had on each other, and just the genuine camaraderie you saw, them being like brothers. So shout out to them. We'll never see a run like this again.
In the NBA and NHL playoffs, the NHL playoffs champ is eliminated in the first round, but we still have an NBA champion former champion still in it right now in the Denver Nuggets. Why is it so hard for a champ to repeat in any sport?
I was going to say, so for me, I think I put a lot of it on the kind of wear and tear it takes to win a championship, especially in some of these leagues. I personally feel that the Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy in professional sports to win, just because it's such a grueling season and then a grueling playoff run. It's so physical. Everybody's physical in the game. But it's just, it's hard to repeat because it's hard to make a one run, let alone two.
Yeah.
You've got teams that are constantly improving. You've got the wear and tear of even making that run on your own players. Your roster's constantly changing. I mean, these days the rules are constantly changing, so there's constant adjustments that need to be made. So I think there's a lot of different variable factors that just can affect even slight changes can affect how your team operates, whether your system works. And we always talk about teams like rising young teams that all of a sudden plateau or seem to hit a ceiling, and it's the same thing with champions. The more you play, the longer you go, the more film they got on you, and the more the other teams can make adjustments. So I think it's the nature of sports, and in the end is just the constantly changing things that can affect the way you even attempt to make a run, let alone get close.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the NHL, and I would probably say that probably 5-6 years ago, but I think the NFL is the hardest because if you look at it, the three that the Kansas City Chiefs have are all three different teams. I mean, Trey and I were talking about that earlier this week, that those Chiefs teams were all different in its way. Mm-hmm. This was the hardest one I think they had to win because they had to win based on their defense and versus their offense at this point. Or I believe this one was more defense than it was defensive. More the first one. So I think the NFL is very hard because if you stay stagnant, if you stay with the same exact team, you're not going to have success. For the exact reason you were saying is that look at the Eagles of last year. They pretty much returned everybody except a few key pieces on the defensive side, and look what happened. I mean, yeah, they went 10-1 and then basically flamed out at the last end of the year because they were just so dead and they didn't have the depth in order to. So I think the biggest thing for, champions is how you rebuild your roster. Are you able to rebuild your roster? And I think that's the biggest thing with the Patriots when they had those runs and those back-to-backs and those, 3-1. I mean, you got to remember they won 16, went to 17, went to 18, won 2 out of 3. And you think about it, they revamped their rosters every single time. I mean, obviously they had the core center of Tom Brady, but they revamped the rosters every single time. So it got them back into the chances to play. So I think the team why is it so hard? Because a lot of teams don't revamp the roster, right? Or they're hit with a salary cap, other than baseball. They're hit with that kind of a salary cap hinge where maybe a guy is getting paid more in the next year where they can't go ahead and pay the guy, in that aspect. So they're not able to get the players they need to help boost their depth chart. They lose guys to free agents. They're not, and that plays a big factor too. So I think it's very hard for teams to repeat. And when teams do repeat, you got to tip the cap. I mean, when the Penguins did it in 2016, 2017, when the Red Wings did it back in the early 2000s, they three-peated, and that was difficult. It's very hard. I mean, the Lightning just recently did it back to back to back, and you could see in the Stanley Cup final against the Avs, they were dead. They just had no legs under them. They could never get any momentum against the Avalanche, who were hungry for a championship. So I agree with you in some way, but I just feel like the NFL is the hardest one at this time. Trey?
I mean, NFL is the hardest because it's single elimination, so you can't have a bad night. So to me, that's the hardest to repeat because even though and they're both grueling, like you said, hockey's grueling, so is the NFL schedule. But one turned ankle and the season's over. Somebody turns ankle in the first quarter. Somebody turned ankle in a 7-game series. Maybe you can get that guy back healthy. But anyways, what makes to me is ultimately you're now the hunted, not the hunter anymore. So everybody is trying to be you. So it's like if you win a championship, no matter what sport, people are now designing their teams to beat your roster because we have to figure out a way to beat that guy. So now people are drafting according to how do we beat this team? How do we climb that mountain? What do we do to, basically either replicate it or find a way to beat that team? Mm-hmm. That's one of the hardest parts. The other thing, too, is anytime you see a team to get a championship, how many times you see a bunch of free agents come in and everybody just says, all right, let's go get 10 people from them. I remember watching the Broncos that year when they had the good defense, and next thing you know, half their defense is gone because they're like, oh, Malik Jackson, he was on the Broncos defense. The Jaguars, when I paid him crazy, it's like, he's not that good, but he's on the defense, so just pay him because they had a top defense. So it's hard to maintain your people. I mean, the Nuggets, they aren't as deep as they were last year, partly because everybody say, oh, Bruce Brown, he's important, so then he gets paid. Then it's hard to keep these guys on your roster because everybody's trying to replicate you. And at the end of the day, if somebody is sitting there with a full stomach, they're not gonna be hungry as somebody who ain't ate. So when you got a team that has already got a full stomach and ate, unless you got a Jordan, Kobe type mentality, it's hard to keep that hunger. I think the Nuggets were actually running to that themselves. They didn't seem as hungry until everybody started talking shit about them. Then all of a sudden, Nuggets started turning up. I feel like everybody woke them up because I think they were sleepwalking, to be honest.
Even they woke their ass up.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. There's only a few athletes, there's only a few teams that have that type of hunger that continue to want it and want it and want it. And it's very difficult because you go through such a grueling season in all these sports. I mean, baseball's 162 games and plus plus plus. You got hockey and basketball, NBA, 82 games and plus plus plus. You know, you got you got 7 game series off the jump, right? I mean, it's 7 games from the jump from the first round on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, same with the NHL. I mean, then if you go all 7 in each series, you know, that's 4 rounds. That's 28 extra games you're playing a year. Like that wears and tear you. And NHL and NBA have the shortest off seasons out of anybody. NFL, at least you have, you know, pretty much till if your team goes to the Super Bowl, you have the end of February, March, April, May, June, and then you have probably first week of July, second week of July, you're reporting a training camp. So there's a lot of different factors that come into this that, you know, it's just it's difficult. I mean, you're just basically you're putting everything and all your energy into it, and then you're just basically like, damn, I gotta go do it again. I'm exhausted. I was exhausted after the Eagles Super Bowl. I can't imagine the fucking players. And I was on my couch. I was sitting there like, God damn. I remember Trey FaceTimed me, and I was sitting there. I was like, he's like, did you? He goes, great touchdown, bro. I saw you there. I was like, yeah, man. Like, I was exhausted with a champagne bottle, acting like I just ran in for 40 yards. So, Grandpa Jay, what's your thoughts?
So you guys make great points. I think you can probably categorize this per sport, where the main emphasis of any point here is going to center around attrition. So the attrition in the NFL, I think, is by luck. I think the NFL is a lot by chance. Like, which team's impact player can survive the season? I think we've seen a lot of teams lose that player that's like, that's it, their season's over. Like, there's nothing, this team cannot win without X player. So I think a lot of times the NFL, it's luck of the draw, because you can't avoid that hit that is inevitably going to happen that may take that player out or whatever it is that caused the injury. With baseball, it's the attrition is with the pitching staff. Like, I have not seen any
100% agree
be able to bring back their rotation and that rotation stay healthy the next year. So now you're relying on hopefully going out and getting better bats and trying to win in a different way. Or you get lucky enough where you go out because you have the money, like the Yankees or Boston or the Dodgers, to sign another elite player in your staff that can take the place of your ace if he goes down for the season. Basketball has really become such a roster change, switch up thing in the NBA recently. The rosters are changing so fast and players are so willing to move and jump right now. The teams are getting that piece they need instantly. I think that never used to happen before in the NBA when you had these dynasty runs. Is the Bulls kept their core for 3 or 4 years. Nobody was leaking out or jumping out. Like, they had their core players. So somebody's not picking off a Rodman or a Paxton or somebody off that team. So they're keeping their core of champion mentality players. You don't see that anymore. It's just, even Denver lost 2 or 3 key players. Even when Phoenix looked like they were starting to make a run for the West, they went and lost like 2 or 3 key players on their bench. And you see how that affected the Suns, where they haven't been able to win in the playoffs ever since. Like, their depth went away instead of adding to that depth. So attrition is really the reason why in every sport it makes it too hard to repeat. But I love Trey's point where there's teams out there that are like, we want to eat now. And if you look at how GMs, especially in the NFL, are given a green light to say, go win now. Other teams don't have. Not every team has that green light. A lot of times the defending Super Bowl champ doesn't have that green light because you kind of take your foot off the pedal a little bit. Hey, we won last year. Yay. You're not coming into the new season like, God damn it. Like, how the heck did we lose that home game? We are unbeaten home in the playoffs. We can't let this happen again. There's this hunger and this raw energy when you don't have it opposed to when you have it. So for those reasons, attrition plus what Trey said about the idea that these other teams are just much more hungry for it, and they show that, especially if they get to the playoffs. I think repeat champions are such a rarity in today's game. And if it's going to happen in a sport, it's probably going to happen in basketball, given that players are already resting and there's minute management and there's other things going on. And normally you see a team have a player that can be in their peak for 2 or 3 years in a row. Look at Jokic winning 3 of the last 4 MVPs. So if it's going to happen in a sport, it's basketball. I don't see it happening in the NFL. I don't see it happening in hockey. And I definitely don't see it happening in baseball anytime soon.
Well, ironically, we've seen it more in the NFL over the last 24 years than we've ever have. I mean, realistically, like look at Patrick Mahomes. He was out in rookie camp, throwing the ball around. I mean, that's why I say it takes a special type of person, and like you said, that core person.
But that is also
the core person. And I'm going to your point, Jay, that you were saying like that core person is the best player on the team, right? And that core person is locked in. So if let's just say, I don't know, a lineman is out there and they're like, oh, Patrick's out there in rookie camp? Yeah, let's go. We gotta get back.
But that is the piece of luck too that Jay was saying, because the Bengals season literally ended the day Burrow said he was out. The Bengals season ended. The Chiefs they've been fortunate. Patrick Mahomes hasn't had season-ending surgery. I mean, the Patriots, the 1 year Brady gets hurt, that just breaks up, a year for them. So
Will Castle.
I mean, right, Matt Castle.
111 games.
Matt Castle, not Will. I don't know who Will is.
Yeah, Matt Castle wasn't about to go win a Super Bowl at that point. So it is a certain amount of luck there.
Yeah, and I also think that, to your point, the money plays a factor now in sports more than ever, where you can't really compare it. I mean, the Jordan years, and actually I'm rewatching The Last Dance, is, right at the start of that dynasty run is kind of where Scotty kind of got, fucked over really in his deal.
Yep.
And, that's towards the end of that is where you see the players start to change and the money start to really grow in the sport. So I think when we look back, you can't really compare it to other times because it was more about the game than it is about the money. Where I think a lot of players we see it all the time. Like, why did that person go there? They could go here. Well, it's all about the money at the end of the day,
right.
So we see a lot of guys doing that type of stuff. So I don't know. I think it's money plays a huge factor in a lot of this opportunity for players that they don't want to stay with one team for their entire career. So,
but just to talk quickly about like what I think hockey is the most recent back-to-back with the Lightning, right? The Patriots were 20 years ago. I think the Lakers are the
Chiefs are most recent. They just won back-to-back.
That's right. Sorry, the Chiefs won back-to-back.
Yeah,
then it was
prior to that,
it's the Lightning, and then prior to that, it's the NBA with the Lakers, and then prior to that,
the Warriors.
No, Warriors before.
The Warriors won back-to-back.
They won 4 out of 5.
The Durant years.
They won back-to-back.
That's right. Yep, the Warriors won.
Yep.
So when's the last time
they could have went through 3 if they didn't all get hurt in the.
When is the last time you've done in baseball, Mikey?
Yankees.
98,
99,
2000.
So then, can we say that baseball is the hardest start to doing it statistically because it hasn't happened yet in this millennium? Like, what 25 years out now of a back-to-back?
I think the game has changed so much, though.
Yeah.
Like, you might remember, pitchers are not allowed to use as much, nothing on the mound other than just a bag on the ground. Like, it has nothing in it. It's just basically a towel.
Yeah.
So, baseball, I mean, the Yankees were the last team to do it, and they retrieved a lot of guys, and especially with these guys wanting such big, exorbitant contracts. Like, look at Blake Snell, back-to-back, Cy Young winner with the Tampa, Cy Young winner with, and it took him till the 3rd game of the season to get signed. Or 3rd week of spring training to get signed. So I think baseball is up there with the hardest just because teams aren't willing to shell out money anymore, and I think the players are just not, willing to stay on teams and stay with teams more longer. So I don't know. I think that realistically, with the hardest why it's being a champ is, I think we all agree, is money.
Mike has a point.
Something just dawned on me actually. Now that since we were going through like the last
25 years, pretty much
25 years of like when the three-peats have happened, especially in the 2010s, a lot of these sports saw like every other year.
Mm-hmm.
Like in hockey, the Blackhawks and the Kings were doing it every other year.
Yep.
The Giants in baseball did it every other year. The Patriots were doing it seem to be doing it every other year or one every 3 years. That's interesting. I think that goes with everything we said as far as money, attrition, all that. Like, win year off to kind of recoup assets and money and players and stuff. Win again, do it again. Like, off year, win, off year. So is that might be I'm just saying, like, that might be the future of sports in general. Is like you might see these dynasties, and the classification of dynasty might be that you win every other year.
Or one might say off year actually can equal Eli Manning.
This gentleman,
And with that,
John,
we're
you
gonna
joked
move
before
on.
the show that
We're gonna move on to
The greatest Manning ever.
well, he has more Super Bowl MVPs.
So rumor has it that the English Premier League teams do not want VAR anymore, and thank goodness that this may be out of the Premier League come this time next year. So in case you guys don't know what VAR is, it means video assistance replay, and certain clubs, if they had it their way, would have got rid of this a long time ago. Now, the clubs, in order for this to pass, they are allowed to go into the shareholders meetings and present what they think should be added or taken out of the game. Rumor has it, like I said, is they want to take VAR at the game, but they need to have a 14-6 majority vote to pass amongst the 20 teams that are in the top flight of the English Premier League. Now, as a fan, here's where I kind of like VAR, is there were certain calls that were so close or maybe too close for the naked eye to tell whether it was supposed to be called illegal or non-legal, whatever it is within the rules, that allowed the game to go on as it should have, because the team that it favored in that moment, thanks to the video replay, got the outcome that they should have got. However, there's a lot more bad that comes with VAR. It kills the pace of the game. The goal celebrations and spontaneous, passionate outbursts by players have completely been diluted. The increased frustration and confusion in the stadiums due to so many damn VAR checks throughout every game lead to poor communication, and the fans and everybody's kind of left there sitting wondering what the hell is going on now. And it's really affected the legitimacy of the game, because these VAR calls were supposed to be for things that were clear and obvious incidents, but now you make it examine to these subjective decisions, and we're just sitting around waiting for the damn call to be made. And surprise, surprise, supporters and fans don't trust in the officials anymore because they can't make big decisions in games anymore. So, way to go, English teams. Let's go ahead and get this passed. Let's get VAR the hell out of football right now. And I know some of the shareholders are like, well, if technology is moving ahead, we should be moving ahead with the technology. Fuck that. VR hasn't worked out the way they thought it was going to work out. It's taken away from the game more than it's adding to the game. Give the fans what they want. Give the players what they want. To hell with VAR.
So do coaches or players seem to be complaining more now than ever, or has there always been a great level of complaining? Trey, let me hear you.
It's always been a great level of complaining. I mean, I think people look at it more from perspective of like, oh, these guys are like complaining more like in the media because they do have more cameras and more media time. But you can go all the way back to the days like Phil Jackson. He was always known for going out there. He makes the type of complaint about the official. He takes a fine, and then the next day the Lakers or Bulls get all these calls to go to their favor. I watched it the other night too in our Genius Play on Mike Malone. Mike Malone goes out. He complains about charges. Was it? Yeah, it was Mike Malone. So he goes out, he complains about a charge, and then consecutively after that, the Timberwolves get 3 straight charges called in a row right after he takes a technical. So it was like, yeah, it's worth it, because it's not just about them complaining. This is actually, a lot of the complaints are about manipulation. The same thing with the players. Draymond, he was always known to go out there, get the early tag, and then after that, they could just basically say, all right, well, we can't throw Draymond out, so he can act like a fucking idiot and just wild out and cuss the refs out, because now he knows, oh, they're not going to toss me out, so I'm just going to act an ass. You go all the way back to the days of tennis. John McEnroe, he was acting an ass. The refs, they're scared to fucking talk to him because they think he's going to throw a fucking racket at him. So there's always been complaints. There's always been yelling. I think people now just maybe see it more. We got more cameras on these coaches. We got more press conferences and all that. But complaining has always been there. And a lot of the complaints are about manipulation. And I actually, because I did say McEnroe, Jamie, tennis specifically, do you feel like there's been anybody to even come close or near that after him? Because that's like the one glaring one where I'm like, I don't know the guy, but is anybody on that type of level in tennis?
Trey, come on, you out of your fucking mind? You're trying to say that somebody can compare to John McEnroe? Listen, nobody.
But even going towards that direction,
Johnny there was one player before named Ili Nastase who used to act a stink, but he didn't take it to the level of McEnroe. Like, he would more belittle the ump and make it sort of like a joke, so the crowd went against the umpire, and so like they would start booing him, and he'd put the pressure on through the crowd to put the pressure on the umpire in the match during the match. So he used more tactics, manipulative tactics to get the crowd to sway his way, as opposed to him being the villain. McEnroe was like, "Fuck that, I'm the villain. I don't give two shits." And I mean, look, who's the most infamous of them all? Bob Knight. No one's more. I mean, we see it every year. The chair coming on the floor and Bob Knight losing his fucking mind on the sidelines every other night until he had a mini freaking stroke. To that point, he looked as red as the damn flag behind you. So I'm with you. We've seen this throughout the history of modern day sports, at least. I think
it was worse back then.
A little more gentleman-like back then, where they didn't want to act a fool nor look like they were losing their composure. I think it became a thing with McEnroe because they realized, wait, is he getting his way by doing this? And I think he really set the tone for players to now step above who's considered the authority of the game, not be the ref or the umpire or whatever the position is per game. And I feel it's something that now is leaked down to youth sports, which is the worst thing that you don't want to see, where you hear little kids complaining about the game and what's happening to them as opposed to what's happening for them, which is they're teaching you the damn game. And if you're not playing it properly, then shut up and play it properly. Now, I admit I've been to baseball games with my nephews and I've been like, what the hell is that umpire thinking? That strike zone's like 7 feet high. Like, how can you call a strike on a kid who's 3'6" and the ball's at his chin? His strike zone's different, but you let it go because it's youth sports. But it's been a thing forever. We're not going to see this go away. I think video replay has probably taken the game out of the players' complaints a little more, because they're like, well, you know what? We don't need to complain because the video replay is going to prove our point here. We'll go complain immediately and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Then they'll go to their coach and be like, throw the flag or call for the replay, whatever. And that's probably going to ease up some of the burden of the ref, because the burden's not going to be on them. They're like, look, I can't make the call. Let me just go to instant replay. So I think that might take a little bit of these passionate outbursts the way we used to see from Draymond and Rasheed Wallace all the time. But you guys, I'm interested in this is you don't see much complaining in hockey.
No, that's not true.
But the part that really gets me is how fast they get in there to break up fights. It's like, yo, those guys put their neck on the line.
Them refs
they're ready to break up a fight.
Bro, I'm telling you, I've had a ref in my day when I was playing, and I've had a ref actually like smaller than me bear hug me and pick me up and pull me away. Like they ain't like dudes. They go out, they work out. Like, they go to training camp. Like, they're ready to go. My grandmother had a cousin that was an NHL ref, and he was locked in. I forget his name, but I remember her telling me that. And I'm telling you, hockey players do complain. You know, we complain a lot. I mean, I've had my fair share of arguments thrown out. I've been thrown out of games countless times because, you know, a lot of calls are bullshit. And, you know, there's a lot of – that's why they always call Sidney Crosby a crybaby, but every single player freaking cries to the ref. And, you know, that's what they do to LeBron. LeBron, oh, he's a crybaby. Yeah, but so is everybody else on the court. Everyone else cries on the court. Look at Luka. Luka's sitting there every play. Like, look, the towel boy hit him in the head with the thing. Luka went down. He's like, where's the call? I'm like, it's a timeout, dude. Like, come on, bro. Like, everybody complains. And that's the reason why a lot of people say on your post, Jamie, especially, that LeBron isn't the GOAT because of it. But, you know, some of these people just really don't know basketball. You can just scroll through and you're just like, he doesn't have that many points. Set the all-time point record. Yeah. But I think complaining has always been there. I think it was worse back then because they could get away with a lot more. Like you said, Bob Knight threw the chair and still stayed in the fucking game. Mm-hmm. You do that today, you're out of the league. The game.
Suspended for the season. Yeah.
Or fired from your job. So, I mean, realistically, the complaining has always been there. NHL it's there. You just don't see it as you don't see it on the video as much just because of, you know, the camera cuts quickly. There's either a little scrum, but you see guys going in the box, they're screaming at the ref, you know, bad fucking call. What the fuck was that? That type of thing. But it happens on every sport.
You don't see managers charging them out getting off. I don't see it as much as I used to, though.
Aaron Boone does.
They get thrown out faster now.
Yeah.
Okay. Aaron Boone.
They're not allowed to.
Aaron Boone got thrown out by a fan because of a fan.
Yeah, exactly.
He was just sitting there like this. He was sitting there like this, and the ump's like, "You're gone. I heard you." I'm like, I didn't say shit.
Speaking of the authority to get thrown out, did you guys see from that game where after a bad call, the guy on the PS system played 3 blind mice?
Yes.
And then the ump was like, "You're out of here." He threw out the freaking game announcer
Yep.
and said, "No more music for the night." I was like, "You can't do that."
Yeah,
He's
that's-
hired. Like, he's hired to be there. He's not.
The leagues have protected the refs a lot more. I mean, you look at so the complaining in the NBA you can't do anymore. You say anything after the call, you get a technical. Yeah. That's what I've noticed. And I mean, Trey watches more NBA than I do, but from what I've noticed, if they even do like any type of motion towards the ref, it's a technical, and you're pretty much giving up a point for your team. So, you know, the leagues have instilled a lot of rules where you can't talk trash about them in the press conference. You can't say anything, you know, or you're getting fined. And a lot of times they're gonna take that fine. And you know, I think that's why the complaining is always there, but it's not to the extent as it used to be, where they used to call people out like, "That fucking guy was terrible," like in the press conferences. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not seeing it as much. I'm not seeing a difference from way back when.
No, and first I wanted to ask Jay. One tennis player came to mind that I think is not McEnroe's level whatsoever, but what's his name? Nick. I think it starts with
from Australia.
Yeah,
but he's more with the fans than he is the refs.
He's a madman.
He's with the fans more than the refs.
He's a loudmouth. Yeah.
Not
anytime I see clips, he's yelling at fans. Like, he's yelling at people in the
He yells at from what I've seen, he yells at everybody now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dude's what?
No, he's different. He's the modern day McEnroe for sure.
Self-proclaimed bad boy of tennis. I think
Correct.
he called himself the bad boy of tennis.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. It's always been around. I think some of the difference now is, like Trey said, we have better cameras. The fields and rinks and courts and stuff are all mic'd really well now, so you can hear everything. And on top of that,
which I love,
unlike old times, social media. So now all of these comments and ejections live forever and spread like wildfire as soon as they happen. You don't have to wait for, you know, your local news show or the national sports news to talk about it. You can find out that it happened 5 seconds after it happened, because somebody's got the video of it, and then everybody starts talking about it. So I think that's why it seems like there's more now, even though there's still, and I don't think
there's 1,000 cameras in the buildings too.
Right.
I mean, there was 250 cameras at the Super Bowl. Like, one for Patrick Mahomes, one for Brock Purdy. Like, there's cameras for certain people. Like, and those just lock on them. And with the new technology, it's bound to be more spread throughout social media. Here's
technology has many drones following players all over the place.
So I want to have a package that I can buy for like a subscription. I want a subscription I can buy, which is I can buy the open mic. So like every player's wearing a mic. I want to hear the mic. I don't want to hear the play. If I can go and buy that, I think the league should do that. And you should put like discretion advised. Like, you might hear some swearing and some shit. But I would love to hear it. I would love to see that, man. I'm
saying you would love to, but at the same time, they're gonna not be genuine at that point. They're start playing those. Everybody, I remember listening to Dominique Fox talk about
just don't tell him.
Ray Lewis would dial it up because he knew he was mic'd up. He was like, Ray would give the same speech and then be like, "That was a good speech. I'm gonna do it again. Now I'm mic'd up." So we wouldn't get the genuine shit.
Just don't tell them.
Some guys trying to button it up because they know I got a sponsor. So now they're like, I usually be swearing, but Nike's not gonna want me to swear. So right. I get what you're saying in theory, but it would never work out where you'd actually get the genuine.
If you could get the genuine,
this isn't for everybody. This is just for me.
Oh, okay.
So they don't need to know. I'll just be like,
well, you can just sign up to be a referee. Then you get cussed out, and you can personally hear all the yelling from Draymond.
Yeah, but then I gotta run up and down
everybody,
court, and I don't really want to run.
Okay, well, do how.
Can I be on one of those cameras that go back and forth, like at the NCAA tournament? I'll just sit there like
we'll get you shit Booger McFarland used to have on the sideline when he was up there scooting up and
all
down
the high.
Yeah, we'll get you one of those.
Yo, that shit was hilarious because you see Booger come down the sidelines like, yeah. That motherfucker was soaring, and then they fired him. They're like, "No, you're not doing Monday Night Football." I'm like, "Damn, you made this dude act a fool every single week by going up and down the sidelines, and then you let him go." That's crazy.
Yeah, gave him his own chair and.
Over $800. That's right. Over $800. It's gonna cost you in order to watch the NFL season this year. $72 a month on YouTube TV, which I have. $350 for the season for the NFL ticket. $8.99 per month for Prime Video. $5.99 for Peacock per month. $10.99 for ESPN Plus per month, and then $6.99 for Netflix per month. And those are all base subscriptions. So if you get the premium, it's going to be even more for you per month. With YouTube TV, the NFL ticket, Prime TV, Peacock, ESPN Plus, and now Netflix, you are going to have to spend over $800 if you're going to get all those subscriptions to watch certain games throughout the season. Now, obviously, that $800 is over a 5-month period throughout the entire season. You can always maneuver that, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the NFL is going to so many different routes. Because as someone that had the NFL ticket last year, you had to have the other services to watch Prime, to watch the Peacock games. So the NFL has to do better with this NFL Sunday ticket. If they're going to charge $350 for it for the season, there should be some subscriptions that you can get with that. Whether it's NFL Network, whether it's Prime, whether it's something in that realm that you can get the packages that can be all If you're going to be in the NFL ticket, my advice to you is to think about your team. Is your team on TV a lot this season? Like my team for the Eagles was on about 12 games last year. So I'd have missed probably 6, but 12 games I at least got to see. So the ticket wasn't really worth it for me. This year, it's probably going to be more worth it for me. So you have to kind of strategically see it like that. When it comes to the subscriptions, just be smart about it. You can strategize this. If you don't have any of these subscriptions and you're starting from scratch, think about what you want to watch. Is your team playing on Monday Night Football? Can you get your password from someone else? Can you share an account with someone? Can you balance this? There's a way to make this work if you really want to watch your team play, or you just look at Gamecast like I normally do for a lot of my teams and see what's going on. But $800+ for the NFL for the season if you want to watch every single game. So I have a little conflicting thing, just on a side note, before we get to the NFL. Robert Griffin III was fired from Monday Night Football Cast, and I'm conflicted on it because he was fired for my boy Jason Kelce. Very conflicted because I think Robert Griffin III did a great job last year, and I really enjoyed a lot of his takes throughout the year. So I'm a little conflicted on it. I mean, I know he'll probably get something because he is a character and he really does bring a lot of life.
College game day and college football.
He'll still do college football.
He'll do college football. He's not in college game day though. McAfee is.
I know, but they may start bringing him in.
They may add him in there. Everybody over there is getting old. Yeah, they're getting older.
Especially because Lee Corso's done, isn't he?
Oh, pretty much, yeah. I mean, Nick Saban's taking his spot.
Nick Saban's taking his spot, but they might. I could see them rotating him in now.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm a little conflicted. Like, yeah, I think Jason's gonna do a good job, but I don't.
Jason's gonna be that fun on there. I don't know. I think Robert Griffin was gonna bring more fun, but that's what they do.
But I think because Jason's been doing the podcast for so long, he's got out of the shell of doing. Like, if you took him 2 years ago, like if you watch the earlier episodes of New Heights, it was like, okay, you could tell he was new, but now he's kind of out of his shell a little bit with it. I don't know how he can differentiate. You have to be without swearing too.
Yeah,
and Robert Griffin was.
You got to be witty in a funny way, which Griffin is, and he uses these metaphors and similes to like. Yep.
I love when he was like racing Hawk.
Yo, some of the Sports Center guys are doing that now too. Where it's like, yo, did you really just make that reference? These guys are ballsy right now. They're like, let the mothership fire me.
Yeah, in a perfect world, you have both. So in a perfect world, you don't both. But
I guess I'm conflicted just because Jason Kelce is one of my favorite favorite NFL players of all time. But like I'm also like, it's like if Donovan was gonna be there, like I'd be like I how do I
You want to
separate?
see RG3, but you also want to see.
I
Kelce.
loved RG3 on it. I thought he
Yeah.
brought a lot more life to the show. Actually, the Monday Night Football cast, especially like when he would do the different things where he would run the routes and stuff. Like, I thought that was fun. I remember when he raced the Hawk from Seattle.
Yeah, that was
You guys
awesome.
remember that when he raced
That
the
was
Hawk?
cool. Yeah.
Raced it through the 40 and beat
Yeah,
the Hawk.
that's like-
That's the stuff that you're not going to see like Jason Kelce do because he ain't going to run after retirement. So, but let's dive into the NFL. The NFL schedule released yesterday, and there's some great matchups to look at here. So we're going to open up with the Chiefs playing the Ravens at Arrowhead. So what are your guys' thoughts on the NFL schedule? And then, of course, my Eagles are going to be in Brazil on Peacock against the Packers, which it is what it is. I get a Friday night game. I was thinking about it the other day that, like, I kind of wish that this game actually was on, like, the week after because I'm flying to Dallas the week after on Friday night with Malin. On the last time Malin and I went on a trip, I got to watch the entire Eagles game on the way home because it was, like, Sunday at 1. So I was watching the Eagles game on the plane, and I was just locked in the entire 4-hour flight. Got to watch the entire game. Actually, we landed with like a minute left, and that's where Jalen did the tush push. And like, I'm literally like last one on the plane. And I'm like, hold on 1 second, don't turn the TVs off. So I'm a little conflicted. Like, I was like, can you guys push this a week later so I can watch this on TV? So, what are your guys' thoughts on the schedule after taking a brief look at it, and your thoughts on your teams and whatnot?
Well, shout out to Greg Olson.
Oh yeah,
it's great for you. $7 million pay cut, so Tom Brady could go call the game for Fox now, which is a very unfortunate thing. I don't think Greg Olson was bad, but he's taking a $7 million pay cut because he's now number 2. He's on the number 2 broadcast because Brady is going to the number 1 broadcast. So my first thought is, I know they were going to put the Browns and Cowboys on. They're doing the whole Tom Brady show and all that. Will Tom Brady even be a good color analyst? Is my good question. Because personally, I don't think he's going to be that great at it. But because we've seen some of these in the past where we've seen some of these guys who are legends and they put them on, whether it was Jason Witten who they tried to put on and that shit was terrible. Whether we seen when Emmitt Smith was doing the in studio shit and he was boring as fuck. I don't know if Brady's gonna be good. So just to boot him and just immediately put him in that spot, that was my first thing because they literally advertised that as Cowboys versus Browns, Tom Brady opening. I'm like, I've never seen y'all advertise the announcer as the draw, as if I wasn't gonna watch that game. If I would have watched that game and 3 mice were fucking calling the game, it didn't matter because it's football. But because it's Tom Brady, hey, Greg Olson.
I think Greg Olson did a fantastic job in the Eagles Super Bowl when they did it, and he was fair. He did pretty good last year. I get you want Tom Brady. He's gonna attract, and then of course, obviously they're playing. His game is gonna be Dallas at Cleveland, so America's team. He's gonna be calling. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how he's gonna do. Is he gonna be like Tony Romo when he first came in and did, before Tony Romo started getting really bad? Is he gonna be really great because he knows the X's and O's and everything like that? I would have liked to see him do a subpar game just to see how he does, and then maybe a 1:00 game that was kind of like not really viewed. I don't know. I'm very conflicted on that, but Greg
I'm not a
Olson.
big Olsen fan. I don't care. I'm not a big Olsen fan. I think Brady would actually do better than him.
Really?
I do.
But we got a lot of good Monday night matchups. I mean, we got, opening up with the Jet. I don't know why they did this, man. They could have just left it one fucking week. Switched it 1 week. Switch it. You put Aaron Rodgers on Monday. I mean, they did do it in New York. It's New York at San Francisco. But, man, this man...
I know, you know what's going through his head. You know it's going through his head.
I guess get your fear out of the way immediately. Like, let me go on.
No, what you do is you script the first freaking 3 series and you run the ball fucking 14 times and pass it once. That's what you do.
Well, the Jets ran the ball a significant amount, 67 times tonight. Aaron Rodgers sat in a chair.
Don't move.
They say he's running pretty good, but I mean,
I'm sure he is, but you never know.
Game time speed, a lot different, man.
A lot different, especially when you got. I mean, they didn't really do much to revamp the line either. So, Any games that pop out at you guys immediately?
Well, the Chiefs' schedule to start is actually the
Oh,
Chiefs are
my God.
starting off with the Ravens, and then they're playing the Bengals. So they started them with the two teams that have kind of been, I guess, one of their like rivalry type things. I was like, well,
I
that's a hell of.
take their
But in a
spot,
way,
right?
I think it could be a blessing for the Chiefs though, because if let's say you start to get injuries or anything later, you're
Mhm.
coming in healthy. That first week they play the Ravens, you got all season to prepare. Mahomes is fresh, everybody's fresh. So I kind of like that for them, but it's still a hell of a way to have to start that schedule of coming out with those two teams back to back.
Well,
Especially
coming
Tuesday.
off that bye, Trey, coming off that bye, you're at San Fran. Of course, you're at Vegas. Then you're hosting the Bucks, and then you're at Buffalo 2 weeks later. And then to close the year, you're at Cleveland, you host Houston, and then you're at Pittsburgh. It's like, Jesus, they really don't want these guys to three-peat. That's a
Yeah.
really tough road schedule.
Yeah, I mean,
Really
I
tough road schedule.
I mean, they're gonna give them the gauntlet, right? They're not gonna play about that. You know, the one thing that I'm looking at right now is the Thanksgiving Day games. I mean, so I put it on my story here, and I put, okay, we got a good matchup potentially. You know, we're all in hopes that the Bears are gonna turn it around this year with the team that they have. Bears at Lions, so we're gonna get a good game. Be able to eat our turkey, be able to eat our food, and then we could take a nap at the 4:30 game because. Sorry, Mike, but your Giants are going to get their ass kicked by the Cowboys. And then we can wake up from our nap, have some pie, and go watch the Dolphins play the Packers, which I actually think is actually going to be a great game. So, so we got 2 good games out of 3. Mike doesn't get to sleep much.
I don't think it's going to be as much of an ass kicking as you think it's going to be. They lost a lot more than they gained.
Yeah,
The
and not
Giants?
the same team, the
No,
Cowboys.
the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't really lose.
I
that
don't
much.
think the Cowboys are going to be good this year.
Now, Mike, I don't want you to feel
I
like
don't think they're. I'm not picking
But-
on you. I'm just saying that the Giants are.
No. I'm about to throw someone in and make him feel like we're picking on him because I don't understand.
Oh, gee, thanks.
No, but this is for real. I don't understand why, if you have one game in Germany who's proved to be a pretty damn good international audience, why you give them Carolina and the Giants? Like, why do you? That's their one freaking game, and those are the teams you schedule to play in that week in Germany. That makes zero sense to me.
I mean,
Apparently.
they playing regular season games in Germany anyways. They should only be playing preseason out there. That's beyond that point.
We all agree on that. But if you're gonna have the game out there and you're gonna send a good product out there, send a good product out there right now. None of those teams are gonna be competing at that point in the season. for anything.
Supposedly, this is the only thing that I'm aware of that would make them want to do this. Supposedly, there are a significant amount of Giants fans in Germany.
Yeah, we got a follower, Big Blue. I think it's Big Blue Nation or whatever. He likes all of our videos pretty much, and he's
over.
He's in Germany. He's German
He's in
based.
Germany,
Yeah. So I mean, he's.
I don't know
all of our
why
stuff.
there's such a big.
But I agree with you, Jay. I mean, it's a shit show. I mean, they always put these shitty ass games, and it's a shitty product.
You got the Jacksonville back to back in London. Like, why does Jacksonville keep getting the team to go?
Well,
freaking-
Jacksonville,
for 2 weeks.
it was the owner wanted. Khan
Yeah.
specifically asked to actually get those games because he was trying to get more of a fan base because he doesn't have it in Jacksonville.
Gotcha.
The other reason I'm perfectly fine with them playing in Germany is because I don't want to fucking get up at 4 in the morning to watch football. So put the shit on over there so I can sleep in and watch good games at 1 o'clock like normal. So keep putting the bullshit over there in Germany. That is fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they didn't do any of the games like Ravens, Chiefs, or let's just say Bills and Texans in Germany, like they speculated. I'm glad they didn't do that because that would have. Or is that in Germany? Or in London? Anyone know?
Hold on.
I don't believe any of those ended up being international games.
Because that was the speculation that the Bills and the Texans were going to be in London, and I was like, dude, why would you do that? You're ruining a storyline. Now it's not at Buffalo; it's in Houston, but still, like that's a bad. You're ruining a storyline.
You got the Bears and the Vikings in the first week in London, and then Jacksonville has the back-to-back. And I'm not sure who Jacksonville is playing in the back-to-back. I think
Jacksonville is going to shut down a lot of the rumors of them moving over there because they're about to release on a $1.4 billion stadium.
Yeah.
Once they sign on that, I mean, that's pretty much locked in them in there, unless they pull a Phoenix Coyote and see it.
Yeah. To answer that question, by the way, the back-to-back is first week's the Bears, second week's the Patriots.
Oh, so the Bears are doing back-to-back too?
Yes.
Because the Bears host the Vikings, and then they stay there and play Jacksonville, and then Jacksonville stay there and play the Pats. That's what it is.
I think that's what they're trying to do. trying to keep the teams instead of traveling back and forth, which makes sense. I mean, if you're gonna do that, at least do it like that. Don't have them come all the way back here.
Yep.
I don't believe actually it's Bears Vikings. It looks like it's Vikings Jets.
Okay.
Vikings Jets, and then the back-to-back for Jacksonville where they play the Bears and then the Patriots.
Okay, so the Bears
So we have just to recap this on December 25th we have the Chiefs at the Steelers and then the Ravens at Texans. I mean, I think because of the snooze fest that they had on December 25th last year, worst ratings they've had on Monday Night Football in forever, they had to get this one right because it's in the middle of the week. It's on a Wednesday. They needed to get this game right. So what are your thoughts on those two games? I mean, Trey, you got the Chiefs coming to town.
I don't like it's on Wednesday. In the discussion,
does Netflix have those games? How you said Netflix has those games?
Netflix is going to have these two games.
It's on a Wednesday. I don't want my team to be playing on a fucking Wednesday. We already got a couple Thursday games. We got a Wednesday game. I mean, it just throws off the body. It's a certain point where y'all don't want these people to last long in the league. It's clear cut. The NFL is on very much of a mission to get most of these guys up out of here in 4 to 5 years. We're gonna get to the point where we do have football Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then we got the Friday game in Brazil. We're gonna have quarterbacks lasting 20 years, and you'll be lucky if your running back gets to his first contract. Like that's where we're headed.
Well, like I told you back in my one of my rants is that we have football from, including college, we have football from the 19th all the way to the 1st straight. There's no days off with football. It's like constant every single day throughout those 2 weeks. Now, realistically, most people in the country take those 2 weeks off or take that week off between Christmas and New Year's Eve. So I kind of understand it in a way, but they're trying to make money at the end of the day, right? So they're trying to build a big platform, and then they have all these subscriptions. I mean, we got Peacock, Prime Video, Netflix now, ESPN Plus to watch Monday night games, YouTube TV to watch. You have to watch games if you don't have cable, and then you have the ticket, which is $350. So,
John, let me elaborate on that and say what the actual bottom line is going to be. So they actually did a breakdown and said the cost to watch every NFL game is as such. On average, if you have a cable package, so if you had to watch every NBA game, every NFL game, this is what you would have to do. Subscribe to cable, $876 a year. NFL Sunday Ticket via YouTube TV, $389. Amazon Prime Video, $139. This is per year. Peacock, $60. NFL Plus, $40. ESPN Plus, $99. Netflix, $7. And now you have $1,610 to watch every NFL game without including what the average price an American pays for the internet service or any access to the internet. That's $64 a month. So that's going to push your total to $2,000 if you want to watch every single game this year.
The subscriptions are going to be, realistically, a lot of these people have those subscriptions already, right? Mm-hmm. So they have the subscriptions, to...
Yeah, but you think people realize...
But think about it. Yeah? Yes. I mean, think about it. All I see all the time is Rocket Mortgage. Like, and it's about that Rocket app that you can, like, balance your subscriptions. Some people are paying for stuff that they don't even know that they're paying for. I mean, ESPN Plus, I've been paying for every single year. That's not...
I don't pay for ESPN Plus.
Netflix, people pay for that all the time, every single year. Prime Video, a lot of people pay for it. It's $10 a month. They don't think about it because it's such a low dollar figure. $6.99, $9.99, then $10.99. So a lot of people are paying for this already, and they're just not thinking of it. And when you break it down like that, they may think about it a little bit more. There's a way for you to do this without having to spend all that money. You do it for 5 months. You get with a friend or so. I mean, Netflix is disallowed that, but other platforms have. You can share accounts. You can do some other things like that. Like, there's a way for you
now,
to
if you're 65 years old, who are you sharing with? You don't know how to work the internet.
I mean, my dad works it fine.
I mean, my grandmother, she watches football. She has the internet. She doesn't know how to work that. She wouldn't be able to watch these. She doesn't know how to work that.
Yeah, I mean,
grandfather. How's your grandfather do with streaming?
Through Fire Stick.
But I mean, he's pretty good at operating it because everybody's.
Yeah, I showed him how to use it, but yeah, it's pretty.
I mean, yeah, maybe they're fortunate, but A, you're saying that. B, America's getting poor. Let's not fucking play the game here. You can sit there and say everybody got that shit. We're all cutting shit. People's budget's getting tight. and they still trying to sit here and make us have to keep that. So everybody not paying for fucking Peacock. I'm on my sister's Peacock. I'm not fucking paying for Peacock. I'm paying for Prime because it's free fucking shipping, not because I want to watch the TV. If they took away the shipping for Prime, I would never fucking pay for Prime. That's A to that shit. B, some people are just on regular cable. I know you can say that from a certain point, but there are a lot of poor people. I'm from one of the poorest cities in the fucking country, and there are a lot of motherfuckers walking around here without cable. You watch the Phoenix Suns. The reason he had to give out free antennas was because a lot of people in Phoenix could not afford to pay for cable, which is why they went to that route. So no, do not play the everybody's paying for these scripts, because everybody's not. That is not the way it's operating in this country. Is everybody's starting to get poor. So no, the NFL is being greedy. Everybody's not paying for this shit. That is not happen like that. You got more kids on free lunches and shit like that in school because less people are making enough money to keep a roof over their head, let alone be able to actually be entertained.
I'm just saying the majority of people are paying.
I don't know. I don't think it's the majority of people. I think you're saying that from a certain perspective as a guy living in a more richy type area. I don't live in that type of area. Where there's a lot of people around here who don't have that. You do live in a richer type area down there in Florida. I'm up here in Cleveland where it is a poorer area, and people aren't necessarily doing that. We do have a higher crime rate because a lot of people aren't able to afford these things in that type of way. So no, I don't think that everybody, you're saying majority, ain't a majority, nothing. Because why does every time when they do the Peacock thing, they say our scripts are spiking? If everybody had it, why would the scripts have to spike? That means people were not paying for it. They're not being obligated to pay for it in the Peacock stream, which is what they just said last year. So people were not paying for Peacock.
Well, and to my point about a lot of times what people can do is a lot of these, and I mentioned this earlier, is a lot of times a lot of these platforms have a 14-day or 10-day free trial, right? You can go ahead and kind of plan it around your team. If you want to watch, like say your team is on Peacock one of these weeks, you can plan it where you do a 14-day free trial and just make sure you cancel in time in order to watch it. A lot of times that works pretty good. I mean, I don't know what Netflix is.
But what about next season? Do I have to make an email every time that I want to do this every season? Because it's going to add more and more games. We talked about this before. Because where you say add a 14, you're right. My team plays week 6. Let me cancel that trial. You know what's going to happen? First round, my team goes to the wild card. Now I got to go back and get Peacock because they're going to put a Peacock exclusive. So once again, no, that theory does not work. The NFL is being greedy. I'm not going to give them the out. You may want to give them out.
I'm not giving them the out. I'm just.
You say it's just easy.
I'm giving an opportunity for people that can't afford it, like you said, and can do that. Because I mean, and there's ways that you can. That's what I'm saying. It's like you share an account with your sister. That's what you're saying. It's like that's what I'm saying. You can get with a few people.
But you got more.
You can talk with people.
Kicking you off. Netflix has kicked me off in this case.
I understand it. And I said besides Netflix, I did push Netflix to the side and say that.
Don't best and believe that Peacock and them is about to start doing that shit too.
Most likely, yeah. But until they do,
start doing that shit too.
But until they do,
next season. It'll be by next season.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, we're in a slippery slope. Be ready to play for Super Bowl. Coming soon. Pay-per-view Super Bowl.
Well, we've already talked about that. We already talked about the Super Bowl is going to be a pay-per-view here sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't trying to give people advice on how they can do this shit. I'm trying to fucking stop the fucking man in the power that beats.
It's never going to stop. That's the problem.
Yeah, but instead of trying to give people the way to do it, I mean, I'm just saying we need to all band together and just stop being, well, we can just do. No, fuck that. Call the NFL out. I'm calling their ass out. If you're not going to do it, I'm going to fucking call Goodell and them out. Stop being greedy fucking pigs.
Yeah. I mean, eating long enough now. Stop being greedy. Talk to them, X. Talk to them, X.
I've always agreed about that. I'm giving people a way to fucking move forward to try to get, if they want to watch their team play this season. That's all I'm saying. That's literally all I'm saying in that general sense. If you want to, like, I get it. Like, it sucks. $180 hold on. And the other thing, hold on. The only thing that's
going down a slippery slope.
The only thing that's what?
I said, if you don't want to go down a slippery slope, people better start boycotting because you can try to find ways to get through this. And like I said before, you can be paying for every goddamn game.
But my biggest flaw in the whole thing is that it's an entire, like, now you have to have a TV that has to have the opportunity as well. So I'm not in disagreement with you, Trey. I'm just giving people like, hey, like, why don't you ban with some people? Like, if you have some people that have it. I understand that. That's what I'm trying to say, bro. Like, damn, I'm trying to fucking speak every fucking time, man. Like,
hey, I'm just saying. I'm gonna speak for the people. If you ain't gonna speak for the people,
I am speaking for the people. I'm trying to give them a fucking solution. You keep fucking. Yes, I fucking am, bro. You're fucking interrupting me.
You're speaking for the rich.
Okay.
You're speaking for the rich.
Fuck $5 McDonald's sausage biscuits. Pay your money to watch your team. Fuck breakfast. Eat NFL all day long.
It's a hard knocks life for us. That's right. The New York Giants are going to be this year's, at least preseason, Hard Knocks on HBO, they announced. And I'm super excited for it. I haven't watched Hard Knocks in a while, and being that the Giants are my team, I'm going to be really interested to tune in. I'm excited to see the different camp battles, to see what young guys from this rookie class and from last year's class that are going to have their sophomore seasons are going to be able to step up this year. I know there's going to be a lot of camp battles for different positions, especially at wide receiver. They've brought in a whole bunch of different receivers, and we'll see who ends up filling out probably that 4 to 6 or 4 and 5 spots, depending on how many receivers they want to carry on the opening week roster. But what's really going to be really interesting is to see the defensive side of the ball. They've got a lot of new linebackers, safeties, and corners coming in. We're going to get to see this year some hopeful solidarity out of that to see who really earns those positions. So, like I said, I'm super excited to see this team. I know they got hard knocks because they're not very good. A lot of times teams that aren't expected to be very good or at least have storylines are the ones that get hard knocks. So I understand what this means, but it'll be interesting to see what Giants show up. And the videos out of training camp are always really exciting to watch on their social media. So to have it on a TV show this year is going to raise the stage that much more for the new age of the New York Football Giants.
All right, after me and Trey are done beefing it out here, we got to get to our Stump the Squad because I got to take him. I got to get him heated up so he doesn't continue to win here. So, fellas, you know what time it is. It's time for Stump the Squad.
Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for getting to this part of the show. If you've gotten this far, we know you're a true fan, and you probably love playing our favorite game as much as we do. That is Stump the Squad, where we try and stump each other every week. If you get it right, give yourself 2 points. If you get it wrong, give yourself minus 2 points. Be honest with us and let us know what you really scored. Don't look at your phone. Don't do any research. Just see if you get it right. It's more fun that way. What we do is we give the winner tallies up a dub at the end of every week. And by show 125, whoever has the most dubs may take the crown from yours truly right now, who is the reigning champ when it comes to Stump the Squad. But I am stumbling right now, so I want to come out these gates with a dub tonight. Mikey, since you took us back to 1864 today with What's on Your Mind, are we doing a 1854 little baseball trivia here today? What you got?
No. We do have baseball trivia, though. Who is the only team besides the Yankees to win 3 straight World Series?
Delicious.
A, Tigers. B, Cardinals. C, Dodgers. D, A's.
Dodgers.
Who is the second one?
Second one is the Cardinals. We got Tigers, Cardinals, Dodgers, A's. John says Cardinals.
I agree with John. Cardinals.
Okay, so we got 2 Cardinals and a Dodgers. This week I have successfully stumped the squad.
Is it the Tigers?
It's the A's.
It's the A's.
When?
With Reggie Jackson.
Yep.
In the 70s?
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought it was only 2,
72,
but then
yeah.
I
don't know. I know they won.
But if you remember, that's when he got traded to he wouldn't get paid, and then that's when he got, I think, traded to the Yankees, and then won with the Yankees like 3 in a row. Mm-hmm. It was crazy. He won like 6 championships, and no one talks about it though. I don't know why.
No, and he won.
No one talks about it.
He won at least 2 of World Series MVPs in that stretch.
Wow.
I think he won for each team. I want to say he's the only player to ever win the World Series MVP with 2 teams.
And that is why he is Mr. October.
Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, you know what? We're going to throw it to John. John, what's
all right. So last buzzer beater in the NBA Finals was Michael Jordan. In what year? 91, 96, 97, or 98?
In the finals.
That was not the last buzzer beater in the finals.
Yes, it was.
There'll be one after.
When?
Like, it doesn't matter what game, or in the clinching game.
No, it's the last. There was a last buzzer beater in the NBA Finals.
In the clinching game, because there's
been in the clinching game or just any single
game.
Okay, well, there's definitely been one after that.
No, there hasn't.
Okay,
that's the last one. Which one?
Well, what you got, Jay?
What do you got? Like what who was it?
It was in the Boston Lakers series. That there was a game winner in that series.
No, there was not.
I'm gonna look it
Buzzer
up.
beater means at the buzzer, like when like 3, 2, 1. Like
Yeah, I
that's
know.
a buzzer beater.
And
Maybe
I don't
they-
recall Jordan ever taking a buzzer beater shot. And there was time on the clock too. That's why this one has me stumped.
91, 96, 97, or 98.
96. I'll go with my gut.
It's the
In
Sonic.
96.
Yeah, I'd go with the Sonics. So I don't think he did it against Utah.
97.
Which one, Jay?
96.
97. Oh, Jamie, 96. Me, 97.
97, 98 would be against Utah. 96 would be against Seattle. 91 would be against the Lakers.
I have successfully stumped Jamie and Mike. It is 1997. Game 1.
Damn.
Game 1 of it was the buzzer beater.
Damn.
Well, so much for a win this week. Fuck
I think you can still come back. He's got 2 people.
Yeah.
it.
Well, go
Who's
ahead
next?
there. Go ahead there.
All right, guys. A baseball question for you guys tonight. They've actually gone absolutely bonkers right now with collecting data on how players and teams are swinging the bat. And I saw a very interesting piece of data that was collected. Can you guys tell me which team in the MLB ranks first in team bat speed?
No.
Is it the Orioles, the Pirates, the Bravos, or the Dodgers?
Orioles.
Pirates.
Yeah, I think it's the Pirates.
So 2 for Pirates and 1 for Orioles.
Mhm.
While the Pirates do have a very outlier space on the graph, the correct answer are the Braves. So I have successfully stumped everybody tonight.
Well, see, Jay, you're still in it.
Yeah, there you
He's
go.
still in it.
-2 across the
scores?
board, and Trey's at -2. The rest of us at -4.
Okay.
And he gets to ask the question.
Okay, so off to the NBA. How many NBA teams have over 60 playoff wins total since 2010? 4, 5, 6, or 7?
Over 60 wins?
Yep, over 60 wins total since 2010. 4,
6.
5, 6, or 7. John's going 6.
4.
Mike's going 4. Going off the board. Mike, you okay?
Miami,
Right.
Golden State. Miami, Golden
It's gonna be
State.
7 this time.
Miami,
No,
Golden,
it's it. Exactly.
Miami, Golden State, Cleveland, Boston. It's 4, 5, 6, or 7, you said?
Yep.
And somebody's been in the playoffs for a number of years in a row, whether they made deep runs or not. I'll go with 5.
Okay, so Mike's going 4. Jamie's going 5. John's going 6.
Yep.
Looks like we're headed to OT. But who's going to OT with me?
I don't know.
The correct answer is 6. I have successfully stumped Mike and Jamie. It is 6 teams. There's 6 teams. Jamie said you're trying to count it out. The Warriors, the Heat, the Celtics, Spurs, Cavs, Thunder.
Bucks.
Fuck, I didn't think of the Thunder. How the hell do I think about the Thunder?
Remember, they were in heavy.
Yeah, they were in every damn freaking
Every
conference
damn
final almost.
playoffs for, like,
They were making- yeah.
2010 seems so long
I
ago,
knew it was
but
the
so
Spurs.
much.
I knew the Spurs were the 5th. I could not think of the freaking 6th.
Trey, we gotta have a square off, just like in like the UFC. Just
Can't make a square.
All right, I have a question for them, Mikey.
all right.
Okay.
I got a tiebreaker.
Yeah, you can't use yours, Trey.
Sure.
It'd be funny if you got it wrong.
Right.
Fuck.
Forgot the answer.
Can any of you tell me what continent boasts the world's longest wave?
That is not how tiebreakers work here.
Okay.
This ain't sports. That's
What the fuck?
What do you
It's
mean
not
sport?
sports.
Surfing's a sport? What are you talking about? It's in the Olympics this year.
You didn't say surfing. You said longest wave.
And what do you think you do on a wave?
I
Nothing
get
for
tackled
me 'cause
by
I
it.
fall.
My ass on the fucking
I
beach
get
in
I get spun towards the shore.
It's supposed to be the Price is Right. Closest to the wins. How big is the wave? You should say.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was gonna say.
Okay, I'll rephrase the question. How long does the world's longest wave break for?
I don't even know where to start with that.
Yeah,
Like, what does
right,
that mean?
that-
Is it feet? Is it inches? Is it miles? Like, I
How
don't.
can inches be the longest wave in the world, bro?
No, you could convert
Kilometers.
it into inches.
You could have converted it.
Bro, come on. We had a question that if I didn't throw out a big number,
What
based
is
on
a
my math,
break?
you guys would have got it wrong.
First of all, what's a break?
Where the wave forms, so now it has the white water trailing, and then it looks like a wave. It's not.
Could
just
you give us like a
big wave.
hint, like feet, kilometers, miles?
No, because then I'll give it away.
How?
It's not feet.
Hell,
It's
you
not
won't.
feet.
No, the
It's
fuck
not-
you won't. Because even if you
It's
say any of those, I'm not going to know where to start.
All right,
Yeah,
Mikey,
I'm
you
not-
have one because these guys ain't answering the question.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer it.
I don't know,
The
3
correct
miles.
answer is 2.5 miles.
I said
See, that's all you had to say was
I just
miles.
said 3 miles. I literally did say 3 miles. So I don't know 3 miles. Just started up. I don't. Yeah, I was
wait,
gonna guess-
you know it can't be 10 miles. It's not gonna be 5, so it has to be like 1, 2, 3, or 4. That's why I said I would give it away.
I don't know. I would probably guess high number, probably like 15 miles or some shit. Because I don't know what I don't know what that means.
I got one for you guys. You ready?
Okay.
All right, this one, you guys is just straight guessing here. All right, Kevin De Bruyne, who is the absolute star player of all star players who plays for Manchester City,
Oh,
became
my God.
your guy. Became the second all-time leader in assists in the English Premier League. Can you tell me how many career assists he has currently
Oh,
as a
Jesus.
player in the Premier League?
I fucking know. How long has he been there? Well, let's see.
All right,
Soccer.
Go with-
Let's see.
38
Soccer
That's
scores about
38
once every
games
20
in there.
goals.
There's
20 games.
38.
I'm gonna go with 3. Huh? He's what?
They play 38 games a year. If you guys want a little background, and I
I'm
think
gonna
he's
go
been with
with-
Manchester for 5 years now.
But this is only his. This is only with Manchester United. The assist only
Actually,
for Manchester.
okay, he's been there. No, he's been there since 2015. So
Oh,
yes,
okay.
only with Man City, only in Premier League games, and they play
Only in
38.
Premier League games. Only
Mhm.
okay.
Not all competitions.
Let's see. Soccer scores once every 20 games. So,
I'm gonna go 324.
A lot of nil-nils in there.
I'm gonna go. 415.
All right. The correct answer is, and this is why I brought it up, prior to Tuesday, he was on 111. He now
Jesus
has
Christ.
112.
Well, he'd be happy. He'd be happy if he heard us, because like, damn,
Yeah.
they think that much of us.
So this week's winner is
Trey Day
Trade A.
extends his
Woo.
lead to 5, which
I'll take it, even if I don't know who the hell that guy is. Told you I was my guy.
Trey Day wins episode 111.
Yeah, Trey.
Scoreboard reads now: Trey Day with 5, Mike and John with 2, and Jamie with uno. We have 14 episodes left, and Jamie's still sitting at the bottom. Come on, Jay, what you doing?
It's been rough, man. It's been a rough ride. You know, that's what happens when you're the king. You kind of just slack
No,
off
really,
like.
but hey, it's
Yeah,
hard to get
hard
back
to repeat as a champ. Real hard to repeat as a
There you
champ.
go. It's hard to repeat. Attrition. It's attrition.
Attrition.
Mental attrition.
You're not hungry enough for this repeat.
No
All
harm.
right, fellas. Well, let's. It's gonna be a great weekend of playoffs. Hopefully, Mikey's Rangers can hold on tonight.
Oh dear God, please.
Please hold on for his sake, or he will not be on the show next week because we will give him shit. But any final thoughts heading into the weekend?
Let's go Rangers, please. Just end it. Just end it and move on to the conference finals, please.
But don't you want to win at home? So you should lose and then go.
No, I don't need a game 7
Yeah, you
after
do.
being up
The
3-0.
guard
I don't
needs
need
that.
it.
Guard needs that.
I don't.
Be
The
panicking.
Garden has the Knicks. They can go to 7. That's
The
fine.
Knicks, no, they need this. They need 2 game 7s.
No, they don't.
So
The Saints bring a 94.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we'll be back here next week for episode 112. Might have a special guest in Idris coming back on the show, talk a little NBA playoffs.
Idris.
And make sure you look out for the starting 5 Cinco Squads with Trey Day and Grandpa Jay. So we'll see you guys here next week. Remember, go follow us on our socials at Cinco Squad Pod 05. We'll see you guys here next week. Cinco Squad out.
Survival Sunday in England.